If I spent all that time that I did about worrying about being perfect into actually producing and creating content, I would probably have so much more content. As a creative and just as a person in general, the worst thing that you can do other than produce bad work is to produce no work at all. Good morning! Welcome back to the AM with Amy. I'm your lovely host, Amy Vagabond, or Vagabond. Doesn't really matter how you say it, it's pronounced Vagabond correctly, but a lot of boys in high school used to say Vagabond to make fun of me, so whatever you want to say floats my boat. I don't care, floats your boat too. So today we actually have a question submitted by Anonymous on Tumblr, and it says, Amy, I'm having a hard time being consistent with working out and just being consistent with everything in general. I tend to get distracted easily, get overwhelmed easily, and I also have a perfectionist mindset, so I've never gone through with most of my New Year's resolutions. Do you have any tips on being consistent and not falling into a stagnant cycle? I find myself to be in those a lot. Love you lots. Well, first off, love you too, and thank you for writing in. And I feel like I should be in one of those AA, Alcoholics Anonymous meetings where I'm like, hi, I'm Amy, and I'm a perfectionist.
Hi, my name is Linda, and I'm an alcoholic.
And the group goes, hi, Amy. Because I will admit to you, I was a perfectionist, and at times I still can be, and perfectionism is something that I've really tried to detach myself from, because number one, perfectionism or being perfect is not real. So striving for being perfect or striving for things to be perfect is striving for a non-realistic expectation of something. And think about that for a moment. Just think about that. So I guess I wanted to use this question to really talk about why perfectionism is problematic. And let me get my makeup started so that I don't drone on and on. I think in one of my earlier AM with Amy's, I said something like, 2018 is not about being perfect, it's about showing up. It's not about perfection, it's about showing up and getting the job done. And a lot of times when we think about perfectionism or just getting things perfect, we are thinking or are correlating that with to achieving things the right way or achieving things a certain level of optimal success. Does this make sense? I don't really know. We think being perfect is the same thing as being successful, when in reality, those two have no direct correlation with each other. And I was listening to a podcast on productivity, and the reason why perfectionism is so problematic is because it is not conducive. Perfectionism is not conducive to being productive, to producing things, to creating things. So I'm going to link the specific episode on productivity down below, but she basically says that nobody asks you how long something took or how much effort you put into it. People only care about your results. People only care about the final product and what you give to them. And perfectionism is for cowards because it allows us to have a reason not to do something. So for example, if I have a video idea and there's a certain way that I need to execute it, I need to execute it perfectly, just the way that I see it in my head. So much of that thought and that pressure to execute it perfectly just the way I see it in my head will allow me to actually not do it. So perfectionism in that way is for cowards because it is a hard excuse to not do something, to not go out there and try and execute the vision, even though nothing you do in this lifetime will ever be perfect. Perfect is not real. Perfect doesn't exist. I don't know why we're striving for it. For me, I am striving for production, for productivity, for creation. I want to be efficient and productive, and I want to create. And I think a lot of my career on YouTube, I've struggled with making things exactly how I see it in my head, and I would want my vlogs to be a certain way, so I would have all these visions in my head of how I would want the vlog to be, but then I would just figure out that is way too much work, or I don't have that certain resource, or I don't know how to edit that way, and so in turn that would make me not do vlogs. And I would say that's probably a big reason as to why I didn't really vlog up until like this past year, and that goes with everything in life. It's like all these video ideas, I just want them to get done. I struggled with this a lot last year, So that is actually why I made the AM with Amy, because I just wanted a reason to show up every single week, regardless of whether or not it was creative or perfect as it was in my head. The AM with Amy is something that I felt the content was meaningful. It was still quality content because I'm talking about the things that I love. And 3, I can do this in 1 to 2 hours max. I can film a video in 1 to 2 hours and then I just edit it for an hour. So it's like 2-3 hours max. Wow, I really didn't do the math of that right. So I just wanted to do something that was effective and something that allowed me to show up every single Monday. And the whole goal of that was just for me to produce and not to focus on this idea of being perfect. Because if I focused on being perfect, I would sometimes not even show up. And showing up, for example, it's like if you're going to a meeting and it's a very important meeting and you are focusing on this idea of getting your hair right and getting your makeup done and having your nails painted and looking a certain way at this meeting so that you look perfect, essentially, right? That you look perfect. But nobody cares about that if you are showing up to the meeting late, if you are not showing up to the meeting at all, if because of your motions of trying to present yourself or trying to come perfectly, you don't show up or you miss the meeting or you come late to the meeting. Nobody fucking cares about how you look. They only care about if you're at that meeting on time and if you're showing up. Another amazing example of this is Casey Neistat and his daily vlogs and how he rose to prominence. And he just wanted to produce every single day. It didn't matter what it was, he just wanted to produce, because as a creative and just as a person in general, the worst thing that you can do other than produce bad work is to produce no work at all. And so he started daily vlogging just so that he could produce something every single day. And then look how crazy that outcome is. I think he's one of the fastest growing YouTubers ever, I'm not sure. The AM with Amy kind of started in that vein where I wanted to produce meaningful content, but I just wanted to also have a reason to show up every single Monday where I knew that I wouldn't be able to miss it. Or being perfect is also problematic because you waste so much time on thinking and worrying about being perfect. It's like all that time that I spend thinking about, oh, how it could be perfect or how it could be a certain way or why it wouldn't be perfect, and thinking about this entire idea of just being perfect. All of that time and energy could have just been made into me editing that vlog or to me just producing that video regardless. It's like all that time wasted on thinking about this idea that does not exist. And I just want to say that not striving for being perfect does not mean that you are doing subpar quality work. You are still doing work that is quality, but you are not striving for it to be absolutely 100% perfect. And this is something that I think my mom really instilled in me, is getting the job done and doing it well, but not having it be perfect. Because I think there's like that meme of that Asian dad who's like, A, why not A plus? But for me, or for myself growing up, my mom never ever said A minus, A or A plus. Just the fact that it was in the A range, we were there. And she never ever said A minus. Why didn't you get A plus? Because it all gets weighted the same way in my GPA. So all of it is still quality work. It's just whether or not you have to be perfect. And she was not gonna stress over those stupid extra points for a plus or a minus sign. As long as I was in A, top quality, she was fine with that. And I think that goes the same way with releasing this idea of getting A plus. As long as you're in an A minus, you're good to go. And so it also releases a lot less stress on you to not have to be perfect all the time, because perfect does not exist. A plus on all your A's just isn't realistic. I mean, I'm sure someone out there has done it, but it's just not realistic, you know what I mean? And for me, I no longer strive to be perfect. I strive to be highly efficient, to be highly productive, to produce as much as I can, especially as a creator. And so that's why I've been trying to produce more videos, even if they aren't perfect and perfect as I see them in my head. And that's why I've also been producing a lot more videos, because I want to just create. I forgot that that's the whole idea of this. I just want to create for the sake of creating and for having fun, because I love to create, and that's the main job as artists, to create art, not create amazingly perfect art, just to create and to impact this world. And perfectionism is for cowards, because the idea of having to be perfect is what allows us not to create. If I spent all that time that I did about worrying about being perfect into actually producing and creating content, I would probably have so much more content. But that's something that everybody deals with, and I will be the first to admit it. But A plus, or A, it doesn't fucking matter. They're all A's, guys. News flash. You can tell that to your parents too. Like, Amy said they're all in the same range, and an A is an A. It's still great. I wrote down this quote in my diary years and years ago when I was 15. And it says, "Don't let the fear of the time it will take to accomplish something stand in the way of your doing it. The time will pass anyway." Earl Nightingale. I thought that quote really resonated with this topic, because we spend so much of our time wasting on worrying whether or not things will be perfect, or why we can't have things executed a certain way, or why we can't be perfect, when we could just spend all that time into producing it, to just getting the job done, to just showing up, whether or not you have stinky hair or you haven't brushed your teeth, but you are at least showing up to the meeting on time. Because if you are late, or if you miss that meeting, nobody cares how perfect your hair is, how perfect your outfit is, how perfect your nails look. Nobody cares. I only care about the work that is being produced, the product that is in front of me, the thing that is being made. I don't care how many hours put into it, as long as the job got done. No teacher ever asked about, "How long did you take on your homework, Johnny?" "I took 5 hours." "What about you, Susie? You took 8? Oh my gosh, you get more stars." No, people just care that the homework is getting done. And I really stand by it, to detach from this idea of being perfect and to just getting things done, because so many people cannot get things done because of this idea of wanting to be perfect. And I just want to produce. I just want to be a highly productive person, a highly efficient person. I want to do things in the shortest amount of time with the highest output. It's just like, if I'm making one perfect video a month, as opposed to someone who's out there making just good quality, not perfect videos every single day, which channel do you think is going to get more attention? Which channel do you think people are going to flock to, and people who are going to watch that more? Obviously, the channel that's working every single day. I don't want to work harder. I want to work smarter and be more efficient with everything in life. Because just because you're working 10 hours on one thing does not mean that that is more quality work than spending 1 hour on something. I ask you, do you want to be perfect, or do you want to be productive? Tell me that. Tell me. Answer that for me. Okay. So she asked for tips on how to be consistent. So I think it was Jen who was telling me, she was reading in the Power of Habit, and this is also said in all of my productivity podcasts and resources that I listen to, but 80% of what you do in your day-to-day life is from habit. So if you make things your routine, if you make good things a part of your routine, you will always do them. And so a good example of this is working out. It's not about working out a certain amount of time. It's having a routine that incorporates working out, that incorporates eating healthy, because we need to do things almost mindlessly. We need to do things as a part of our routine. It's like, you don't have to remember every day to wake up at a certain time to go to school. It is just a part of your routine. And so for me, working out now, it's as soon as I wake up, my routine is to go work out. And now that that's so incorporated into my lifestyle, I feel like my day is kind of out of whack when I don't go work out. And obviously that took years and years for that to be a routine. But if you want to stay consistent, and if you don't want to be stagnant, you need to make sure that your your habits and that your lifestyle, that your routine is one of progress, of productivity, of just growing. Because if you have a routine of consistently not eating healthy, of consistently sleeping late, of consistently not getting enough sleep, of all these habits, and you are consistently going to be in that place. And so that is my number one tip, is make good things a habit, because we have so many bad habits, and I think it takes 21 days to instill in new habits. But honestly, it took me years to have working out be part of my routine. So it's not easy, but you can do it, and routine and having things be habitual is the best way to do it. And the second thing I want to recommend, number 2, planning. You plan ahead. When you make things in advance or schedule things in advance, it allows you to be more consistent with what you are trying to achieve. If you are constantly just willy-nillying it, that's such a poor choice of words, but if you're just spontaneously doing things and hoping that they will work out, chances are they are not going to work out. You need to plan. You need to plan ahead. If you are going to eat unhealthy, then you need to make sure you have a workout in. While you can achieve things without really planning will definitely help you to stay on the right track. And that's why I have a Google Calendar, a planner, and in my head I have just so many planners also. But planning ahead and writing things down will help you be consistent with achieving your goals. Should I spray? I should spray. So those are my ways on how to stay consistent. Number 1, releasing and understanding that perfectionism is not conducive to being productive. Number 2, what did I say? Making it a habitual thing, making habits, making a good routine. And number 3, planning ahead, whether that's meals, traveling, planning for homework, planning for financial obstacles. You know, you should have money saved for just in case there's a rainy day. Planning will always help you out. I never ever heard someone say that, oh, I really planned it out, so it really messed up my day. I mean, sometimes when you're going to like Coachella or something, you should really just go with the flow. But for the most part, I think planning is very beneficial to your success and to you being consistent and staying on track. So thank you guys so much for watching this AM with Amy. I'm here every single Monday. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you like these videos, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. I have a whole playlist of the AM with Amy's right here. I love you guys so much. Bye! Hello, dear Amy. When you're doing the description box, this is hot cocoa from Marc.